Welcome to Yep Yeah Yes with Marissa and Tamika. On today's show, we're going to be discussing parents can remain friends with non-parents. But before we get into that, how are you, Marissa?
Oh, okay.
Are you sure?
Are you breaking up with me?
Not really, but you never know. By the end of the show, might not be friends anymore. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but it is what it is.
How's your cough?
It's okay.
Yeah.
I got to take my allergy medicine the other day, yesterday, so I was coughing all day, but today I seem to be okay.
All right.
So good to go. I wanted to bring up something before we get into the show because I didn't, I forgot to mention it to you, but I do want to,
Surprises?
No, not surprises.
Springing it on me?
No, this is actually serious. One thing that we discussed before we even started doing the show was we're not really going to talk about politics or anything like that. We kind of want to, not that we want to remain a lighthearted show, but we kind of want to just stay away from things that we really don't know that much about. And then get into not that we differ too much on how we feel about society, but we don't want to delve into that because it's very polarizing time in this country. But I did want to mention, I've really been having some kind of feeling about the whole immigration thing that's going down in Texas, and it's heartbreaking on so many levels. But instead of really getting into it, I just want to put out there the thing that's going around. If you two are affected by it, and you want some changes, not just a temporary band-aid, but you want some real changes, I suggest that you call 202-224-3121, which is for the Keep the Families Together Act, or as they're calling it, the SB 3036. When you dial it, you're going to put in your zip code, and then it'll ask you, it'll ask you for your information or whatever, so you make sure you put what town you're from. I'm from Huntington, so I would put Huntington Station, wherever you're from. Just put in that information, and it's the Keep the Families Act together. The Keep the Families Together Act. Think about your own family, and
But
however you feel about the situation, you just kind of want to.
But I just want to just add one thing to that. We did not discuss this beforehand, but
No.
I do want to say this. People coming here, while on one side of the aisle, people are saying, well, while one side of the aisle is claiming, well, you do something illegal, that's what happens. People don't know that this is what happens when you cross the border. It is not something that's widely known. This is not new. This has been happening over 22 years. This is not something that's commonly known. So when people are coming here to have a better life for themselves and their family, and then this happens, it's a voiceless issue that we're just bringing light. And we're going to give you that number again, and definitely just keep that in the back of your mind.
And once again, the number is 202-224-3121. It's the Keep Families Together Act, or the SB 3036. Make sure to give your zip code and the town that you live in.
Thanks, Holmes.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of children.
Today was my kid's last day of school. How was?
Oh, good for them.
Yeah.
So it's funny because in the summertime, I start to reflect on my friendships. And the funny thing is that over the last couple of years, actually the last 7 years, I would say it started really with you. Like, you're my oldest friend, I would say.
Okay.
Oldest in times of length of friendship.
Right.
And so, you had children, and then, other friends have children, and I don't have any children. So you start to think to yourself, like, as they start getting older, in the beginning, you start getting invited to all these events, and, their birthday party, their baptism, things like that. So you kind of feel like you're still part of...
Involved and part of the
you're
whole
part
thing.
of the whole,
Ingratiated.
Yeah, ingratiated into the family fold, the friendship, the friendship is not dissipating. But then, now I've noticed in the last couple of years, as my friends' children have gotten older, 5 and older,
Right.
it's like, I'm not getting no calls no more.
Right.
And I feel some kind of way about it, because it's not like I don't think like I've said anything inappropriate or acted inappropriate around any of my friends. I think I've been generous with, my time, and I've been generous with, material things, I would say. I guess, I'm not that friend that comes there with like a crappy gift.
You mean like for kids' birthday parties?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I see.
And
I see.
I think of not just the friend, but I try to think of the children too. And then when you're kind of like phased out of the picture, it's like, well, what's going on here? And so I wanted to have a show about it because even though I have other friends that have children, you're the one friend that I do the show with. So and you have children, so I figured like what is your frame of thought?
Well, there's a few things that happen. Sometimes you have like birthday parties at a place. So it's like a kid-centered place as they get older. So you're just like inviting their friends. It's a 2-hour thing and it's just so kid-centered. Like, would you want to go to Sky Zone even though you can't jump for 2 hours?
Yeah, but are you when you do that, are you the only adult there with those children? Or are you there with the parents of those children? And are your close relatives there too?
Not always close relatives.
Not you per se, but just in
sometimes.
general.
Well, I've seen a mix of everything. I've seen where it's
adults have to talk with other adults, right? It's not like they're jumping, so what you don't say that to them.
No, correct. But they bring their kids. So sometimes like there is a parent or a grandparent or a caregiver for whoever is attending the party. So yeah, I see a little bit of that. I see sometimes where it is. I don't know. It's a little bit of everything I've seen. I've seen where there's a birthday party today that my kids are actually attending, and there's no adults invited, which is a little odd for me. This is my first one.
Well, what kind of party is it?
They're at a movie.
Exactly. It's not like they're jumping around in Sky
No,
Zone.
correct.
Just sitting in their seat.
I mean, I would have watched the movie too, but whatever.
No adults are probably invited because they didn't want to pay for adult fare.
Probably.
So, like, that's a little different, but you think about some of the parties they've been invited to this year.
Right.
That were at a place.
Actually, you know what? I've started to see a lot of caregivers drop off the kids.
Right.
Which
but
is
prior to that. Okay, so now they're getting older.
Yeah.
But
it's been one caregiver and the kid, and then like
I always wonder because I don't even hang out with my friends with children anymore, and I think that like me and you don't even hang out really. We do the show and then I'll see you next week. We don't really we hang out every once in a while. We'll go to we went to see Lauryn Hill. That was cool.
Yeah.
Even though we waited. The woman had us waiting.
She didn't even apologize.
No, she just came out there and just started singing that thing. It's like, really, bitch.
Like we was that thing in it.
Exactly, but it's like one of those things that like you got us here. I gotta go to work in the morning. It's 2:00 in the morning, and I'm like, doing the doo-wop that thing. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. But it's like, so we go to things like that where it's like, I feel like we do more things where it's like where it's planned far in advance, like a show. Like we're going to see Jay-Z and Beyonce in August.
Beyonce.
So, but that's like tickets. We already got it planned, and you got some time for that. But it's not a situation where, like, hey, let's go out to dinner. We haven't done that in
ages.
Right. So, but my thing is like I said, I wonder if I'm sure because we have a long friendship that if we weren't doing the show, we'd make efforts in other areas. But it's like we become complacent because we see each other every week. It's like, oh, well, I just saw her.
I see what you mean.
It's like one of those things.
Yeah,
like,
but okay, but take us off the table. I'm thinking about.
You're it's hard.
Damn it.
But no,
but
go ahead.
But like I'm thinking, we both have a mutual friend that has a child, but we
have a couple of mutual friends that
have children. Yeah. But I'm thinking of one specifically.
I know who you're talking about.
Who
you don't even gotta say. No, go ahead.
who I don't even remember the last time that I hung out with them.
Well, this particular person, this person took me out for my birthday. Took me out for a birthday lunch.
Oh.
Without their spouse, which is how it's like once a year we have lunch.
Right.
But it's like, it's no longer like, let's go to dinner.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's not like, it's just it's a friendship, you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's no need for jealousy on either side, you know what I mean? But for whatever reason, it's like, all of a sudden I feel like parents, I don't know, because I'm not a parent. I don't know if it's an unwillingness to make those concerted efforts, or they really are bogged down. It gets frustrating because then I see certain parents where it's like, oh, they made an effort to, they went out that night.
I think it's a combination of everything. I think for some people it's very I'm going to speak for myself. For me, it's not easy. I'm one of those self-sabotagers where I put all the obstacles in front of me in order to do stuff. So like going out, I'm like, nobody's going to want to watch my kids, and then what I'm going to do, and then I feel guilty, and I have issues with my own mom. I always felt, because my mom was the one who brought me to all the places that she was looking to hang out with, and I had to shut up and sit in a corner. Or like I got stuck in a bedroom while she was partying out and I fell asleep.
Sound like you're telling my life.
I know. I'm sorry. But but you see that you see that growing up. No, but people still do it. Like I'm sure there's people that still do that. But I have like this thing where I'm not saying my mom was a bad mom or my dad, but it was a different way, and I never felt like I came first. I always felt like I was an intruder on their life. And they were very happy to let me know that I was. And I have this like guilt where I never want my kids to feel that way. So I don't really do much without them. But I also know before I had children, other people's kids bothered me. Like when you go out to eat and like you're talking to them and like all of a sudden like the kid is like, mom, and you're like, shut up. Or like they're cutting their food and like, do you want chicken? Do you want chicken? Do you want chicken? And you're like, holy shit, shut up. Or like, and then, we've talked about this before, I have issues with like, my mom was a bit of a boozer when I was growing up. So then I see them drinking and I want to drink, but I also don't believe in drinking in front of kids. So I get like, it's this layers of anxiety and self-doubt and self-sabotage. And I'm like, I'm a horrible person. I'm a bad friend. I'm a bad parent. I'm a bad everything. I'm just going to stay home.
I mean, yeah, I see that a lot with you, but there's two faults in your story.
Go ahead.
The number one fault is that you're making assumptions about other people based on your childhood.
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, that I know.
That's not good. Number two,
my self-sabotage.
Number two, coming from where I am, I'm your best friend, and I know for a fact I've never made you feel that way.
I know that for a fact.
So there's like no, how many times have I said to you, like, let's go on a girls' dinner, me, you, and Marina, when Marina was 2 years old.
And
you always came up with an excuse.
Because I'm a self-sabotager.
Right, but so it's not, like, it just never made sense. And you know what's funny? Like, I sent you an article earlier from Parent Magazine.
I read that, yeah.
The article annoyed me. I'll tweet out the name of the article. I can't remember what it's called. But the article annoyed me because everything about the article was from the perspective of the parents.
Of a parent. Yes, I did get that.
And it was all about, the non-parents making concessions to make the parents feel comfortable in their role as parents.
Like if you want me to come to your house and have a child, you have to child-proof.
Right. It's like,
that
really?
was one of the things. Like, you don't have to child-proof your house.
Everything was about making them feel comfortable.
Right.
And
to be like, in your environment.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, what about people like me?
Right.
Like, I honestly feel like with all of my friends, it's always been about me changing
who I
am to fit their life.
Yeah.
So now we don't do dinner, we do a late lunch.
Yeah.
Or we can only meet up while they're in school.
And then you blame your kids while you're always late.
But then they always tell me, like, but like I have a friend who has a live-in babysitter.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, so when exactly is she able to babysit?
Right.
Or he, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things. What is the name of the article? I know you just pulled it up.
Can friendships survive parenthood? And it's on parenting. Parents.com.
Parents.com, right?
A parenting magazine.
Cool.
It's by Jessica Brown.
Okay.
Child looks at how family life changes the quality of parents' friendships.
See, if the article would have just stuck to
that
how it affects
theme.
The children.
Right.
I think that would have been perfect.
But here's my thing though. I'm fishing right now, and I feel like I have made strides, although you shot me down before when we started this conversation.
Did I? I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that.
It's okay. I feel like I've made a concerted effort to do better with that, especially now that my kids are a little bit older, where I feel like I've done my best to be a little bit more open and more like trying to do more like adult things.
Right. Well, this is a treat for us. So for the first time on the show, we have a special guest that we're gonna introduce in the show, and this special guest actually happens to be a young person who has parents.
She happens to be my favorite human,
and she's gonna be able to actually give us some thought. The one thing I want to say though, the one thing in the Parent magazine, it talks about how friendships can affect the upbringing of children, how they view friendships in their own life.
Right.
And so I'll let you introduce our guest.
So my favorite human, her name is Isa, and say hello.
Oh, hello.
She didn't know she was going to be on.
She had no idea. We're springing her, and she's a special guest in the studio. So you have parents,
Yes.
and you know both of them.
Yes.
So you knowing both your parents, they both have friends.
Yes, yes.
And how do you feel like? Well, you know me too, and you know that I have friends.
Yes, yes.
She knows you got one friend.
Yes.
I know.
How many of her friends have you met?
The most important one, right?
Yeah.
The one that matters.
Yes.
Duh. But how do you see like people? Because you've met me before I had kids, but although you were young, but I think you remember that. So do you feel? What's the example that you see from your parents' friendships?
The example that I see, I'd say my mom, because she had a friend who worked in her hospital. She was really close. Her name was Gigi, but they would, because I was a little bit older than your kids now, because your kids are, 7?
7 and 6, yeah.
And I was
And
about...
how old are you?
I'm 12 right now,
Okay.
but I remember the time when, it was like a girls' night when, you were talking about, but I was a little bit older. I was 10, 9, or 11. Really don't remember.
A long time
But
ago.
yeah, a long time ago. I'm an old man now. I mean, an old grandma. Oh my gosh. So, I remember we went out and with your anxiety of drinking in front of the kids.
Yeah.
They had a drink and I had my apple juice looking like a beer or something. So I felt cool. But I didn't have because it's not like my mom or my parents drank a lot in front of me. They didn't at all. I just I felt that my mom, because with her job and everything, I felt like she was stressed. So having that, her close friend going out to have one drink or something, and then after we'd go see a movie or something, it was kind of relaxing for me too, because for my mom, for being stressed, and that would kind of make me stressed.
Right.
So it was kind of good to see that she was relaxing. And then with my dad, he had a very close friend named JP. They would go, I would hear them go out, he'd be happy, having fun. So as a relationship part, I felt like that was a good part of me as an example for what I
what you want to
strive to do if and when I have kids in the future. I want to be like them, where it was a very good balance. So it was the perfect example for me.
What about with your own friends? Do you think you make more of an effort to have really good friendship because you've seen your parents have good friendships, or do you just is everybody? Are you one of those people that has a million friends, or do you have a couple of close friends? I know that you've moved a bunch of different places, so it's hard to really maintain.
She's an
strong
army brat.
Right.
Yes.
It's hard to maintain strong bonds. But are there any people when you're at school or whatever activities you have out of school, do you find it easier to build those really close bonds, or is it difficult?
I find it easier with someone I connect with really well. If in my last duty station in Korea, I found it really perfect because there was someone who I connected really well with, who lived nearby me, so everything was perfect. And her parents liked me and my parents liked her, so it was very easy. And seeing that my parents, when I was younger, it kind of made me want to get out more.
Okay.
If in a sense. So yeah.
That's good. See, that's good. That's
Oh,
good.
look at, I'm looking at her like, oh my God, I'm so proud of my baby.
But she's a clear example of how important it is. Like the one thing that just resonated with me is that she said that her mom, going out and just going out to have a drink or dinner or whatever with her friend and a movie was like a calming.
Well,
calming force on her.
I had I not just that really spoke to me, because had I not heard that, I would never have thought that in my self-sabotage anxiety sort of way, the way I would interpret that is the way some of the times that I felt with my parents, where I was secondary to it's not only to the conversation but to the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really thought of it in such a positive, like a role model type of way.
I mean, I know that I've said to you, even when your children were young,
Yeah.
like I know for a fact that I've said this to you, that what they see, they take in. It's not always
Right.
what they hear.
Right. Yeah.
So if they see, oh, TT, and, she's
Right.
laughing, and, it's funny because a few weeks ago, I came to your house on a Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, what are you doing here? You're
It's
supposed to
not
be here on
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like they notice things, even when you
Yeah.
don't think they're noticing. And so sometimes, even if I know we've gone out a couple of times, and they're like, where are you going? They want to go too.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they want to go or not is irrelevant. What's
Right.
important to know is that they know that you're making time for you, whatever that might be. Because you have to cultivate your own spirit, and you have
Yeah.
to cultivate who you are in order to be better for them and show them an example.
I've been working hard at that. I've been working really, really hard
Have
at that.
you?
I have. For real, I have. For real, I have.
In which way? Give me one example.
Well, the inside, where, like, getting rid of the guilt.
Okay.
Like going to Lauryn Hill and not having the guilt of, like, oh, I should be home. I should have tucked them in. I should have made sure that they all brushed their teeth. Or things like that, where I just feel guilty not being the one to do it. And then I also feel like I'm not, like, I chose to have my kids, and then I'm not going to take care of them.
Right.
So doing that, and then also while I'm in the moment, to try to enjoy the moment and not have that self-sabotage thinking.
You don't have to raise your hand, Issa. It's not school.
No, I just going out of
on it,
school,
girl.
so I'm stuck to it. So, part of that, like, self-sabotage, seeing, like, my parents, of course not, like, every night they would tuck me in, like, tell me to brush my teeth or whatever. Your kids are, like, what, 6 to 7?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think part of that is, like, for you to, like, stop kind of sticking to them. You're like a little leech or something like that.
Oh, she told you.
Oh, she done
But
told
that's
my
important.
ass.
Just-
Yeah, because I think it's important because
Give
you're
them
there.
independence
I see
in a
them,
way.
yeah, like I see them here. Earlier today in the car, you're like, let's make plans, and what I see and from what I hear, you're with them every second of the day, and I think that's great. But part of that is to let them go a little bit, like with the play date.
I love this girl.
Serena.
Was that like her at 12? I wonder.
Oh my God.
She's brilliant.
Thank you.
So, okay. No. Keep telling me. So I should let go a little more.
A little more, yes, because I know you like go to bed early with them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, once they fall asleep, I don't know. Just do something more adulty. You're at this
I
stage.
agree.
You're at this stage right now where you're like, you forgot that you're at this stage, but the next stage is kind of like go a little bit. You forgot that stage. You're stuck in the stage where, I need to make sure I do this for them. I need to do this, that, this. I can't forget this.
Where did you find her at? She about to take your spot. I'm about to do shows.
Because, like you said, like Tamika said, Miss Tamika, she said that, like, observing. They already know that they observe, so that
Right.
they know. Because when I sleep upstairs with Marina's like, I'm gonna go brush my teeth. Can we go take a shower now? They already kind of know the concept of it. I think
Right,
it's just giving them the little reminders and not go pushing them upstairs. Tell them, like, more. Like,
Give them more independence.
Yes,
to,
more
to
like
learn on their own.
more commanding than more like showing, because I feel like the showing part you've been doing fantastic, and that fantastic part has already been filled.
And I agree with her. I think, and that all comes down to also, I honestly believe, like, when you see your parent show that they trust you, number one,
Exactly.
and that they're also giving themselves self-care.
Exactly.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
So
Right,
it's like a nice balance of them being independent, but still having, like a very good parents and things like that.
Are you in therapy right now? You feel like you're in therapy? This turned into
like the Titi Marisa show. We're talking about her life and how she should fix it.
Oh my god.
Oh, this is T and Issa. Fix my life. All right. All right. Okay.
But like truly, I do believe that it's coming from someone who's a non-parent. I honestly, I try to do my best to not only cultivate my relationship with my friends, but let them know that, their children are an extension of them, and I love their children too. Whether they,
you do an excellent job
like
at that.
I try, and I've tried it with my other friends too, but it's not. Obviously, you're like my sister, so it's going to be a little bit different.
Right.
But I feel like with my other friends, it's like they in a way are self-sabotaging because they're so focused on being parents and not realizing that what their kids are seeing. I actually miss some of my friends because they've made a concerted effort not to include me.
Right.
And I don't know if they're including other people. I really don't, or they're just including other parents. Like it's just all of a sudden your non-parents have become your children's friends have become your friends.
Yeah.
And then you don't like
you
don't like the children's friends, parents or whatever. It's like, I don't really like my daughter's friend. My daughter's mother. I mean, my daughter's friend's mother.
That's happening to me right now.
You're judging.
Yeah.
Then you start judging how they're raising their kids.
Yeah,
and so your whole life becomes your whole life all of a sudden is really consumed by your children.
Oh
now
my God, that is happening to me right now.
That's not good. That's not good.
Oh my gosh, we caught it early, hopefully.
Yeah. So what changes are you gonna make?
I'm working on it.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not putting you on it. What were you gonna say?
And again with the observation, I feel like soon enough that your children are gonna realize it, and they're gonna be like, I don't know if I should hang out with you anymore. Mommy doesn't like you, or things like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You think about that's true.
Yeah.
What you see in the household, now they start telling. Or how the way you feel about their parents,
right, is the way they'll
dictating how they feel.
That's actually happened to me almost once, but
tell it, girl. Tell
it. Yeah, so it was an interesting position because I remember I was little and it was like, like this is what their parents do, but I don't want to be like that, and I don't want them to be like that. So it was just a super hard, position I was in. So it was like, should I continue to play with Tommy at recess or should I not? So
it was tough, but hopefully, your children, and I'm sure Issa's realizing the type of friends that she wants to pick based on how she's raised and based on the relationship she's seen in her life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that not only affects relationships in terms of friendships, even that's the thing we're focusing on,
right,
but the mates that they choose.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's simple, because if they see how, I don't know, it's a lot. It's when parents are, like I said, I gotta keep reiterating I'm not a parent, but from my perspective, it's like when I see my friends, it's like, raising a child is not just about making sure they have the flyest clothes and really good shoes and whatever they want to eat, but it's also what they're seeing in their environment.
Right.
And are they respectful children? Are they helpful children?
Right.
What kind of examples are you showing them?
Right.
And like she was just saying about you, it was like with the your whole life is your children. How are they going to grow up? If that's how they see the world, it's like, well, it's just me and mommy. It's like nobody else really matters. But hopefully they don't see that, because I try to, I'm like I said, I make an effort to be there and try as much as I can, but it takes two sides.
Right.
Yes, and again, like I see as a child, you definitely see those people who are like that, who is like, oh, it's me, I have the coolest clothes, I have the coolest shoes, don't touch me, you can't do anything to me, I'm invincible. But you definitely, because no one wants to be their friend, to be honest, because they're like all stuck up and they're spoiled and whatever, and you might not be like privileged or you like, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because, especially now that I think about it, I have amazing parents. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Like,
Once you start talking about it,
yeah,
like, wait a
like,
second.
hold on. Thank you. So, I noticed that, like, my parents, even, like, last night we were talking about, because, it was, like, the first real time that my brother and I went to the mall, with, like, other family members except for my mom's, and so we were talking about, like, our decisions of buying stuff, and so it was, like, you don't need 50 pairs of shoes. It was, like, focus on something else.
Right.
So, I think that falls back on, like, your friends, like, making sure there was a nice balance of you and your kids and you and your friends, because they see that and they don't want to be like as you were saying, feeling that that your parents wanted you to know that, like, this and this.
Right.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
So it's just about, I think, finding the perfect balance, because they know, you know, and I think your friend knows too.
Yeah,
I know.
Nice.
Do you know?
I know.
But so no.
I know now.
So now back to the original question: can friendship survive?
Can parents be friends, have real friendships with non-parents? I think we're proving that you can.
Obviously, but it's the commitment that you make not
Yeah,
only
it's-
to each
it's-
other.
Right.
Yes.
And how
And
strong
the
is that
friendship.
bond prior
And-
to
yeah.
children?
And what relationship you have, because there's I know there's different types of friendships,
Mhm.
so you have to pick the right one so that everyone around you, like, it doesn't, again, like the environment, it doesn't affect anyone in a negative way.
Right.
Right.
Because if your child, especially at this young age, sees that you're, like, playing rough or something, then they're gonna start playing rough with their friends, and that's
Right.
gonna cause a problem. Like, you have to be, like, good, have strong,
So what's the
have
phrase?
stability.
Talk about it, be about it.
Talk about it, be
Talk
about it.
about it, be
I
about
like it. Well, thank you, Issa.
Thank you for your
jumping
input.
on.
I'm gonna go
Appreciate-
back in the sidelines.
No, you're not.
So now we're going to transition into the... Did you want to add anything else before I...
No.
Okay.
Go for
We're
it.
going to transition into our segment entitled, Yep, That's Trending. Today we're going to talk about a little bit about bullying. The funny thing is, not funny, but I had mentioned to you about Nate Robinson, who's a former basketball player. He's trying to actually get back in the league. I think he's like 34.
Right.
He's trying to get back in the NBA, and he did an article or interview with the Bleacher Report by the author. What's her name? It's Mirren Fader, I think. Yeah, and the article is called "Nate Robinson Battles Inner Demons in Quest for NBA Return." And so the article, he touched on a lot of things, and they also went to other former teammates and former players in the NBA, and they all basically painted him as arrogant and like stuck up, and not really. I wouldn't say he was talked about like a bad guy, but just somebody who was all about himself. And in the article, Nate discussed his coaches, specifically Larry Brown, who was his coach for the New York Knicks, and how he called him, I think he called him a little shit, and he just made fun of him for all kinds of reasons, and Nate cried and stuff like that, and he said that being the NBA made him insecure and depressed because of the way that he was treated, because he's a short guy. I think he's like
He's 5'9" and
180 pounds.
Yeah.
I remember from
the article. Yeah.
But so,
that stood out to me because in the regular world, that's not
short.
That's
well,
not short.
I need
it's
to date a guy
slightly
that's
above-
5'10" or
yeah. Well,
although I
that's
have
slightly
dated
under
5'7".
average, but for the NBA, that's tiny.
Yeah, that's really little. Really, if you're under 6 feet, it's like you're not going
Or
to play
6'5",
NBA. So,
really, yeah.
so you make it in the NBA
But then you don't act right.
right. But so it's like the thing about it, which was confusing about the article, was he acting that way because he was treated
A certain way.
a certain way, or did he act like that way already? Like it's, he, like I said, his coach he specifically talked about his coach from the Knicks, my favorite team, and how he was degrading towards him and so on and so forth, and he felt like he was being bullied. And
He says they misinterpreted how I was.
yeah, but if you're outwardly acting like in quote little
Little shit.
shit, then they're gonna call you that.
Yeah. Well,
What
see,
are your
that's the thing.
thoughts?
It's like
And everybody calls it bullying. It's like everything ain't called. You ain't got to call everything bullying.
well, here's the problem. It's like, okay, so you when you're younger, you go through these phases. Like when you're younger, there's like the one bully, and they physically attack you, or
emotionally.
or verbally attack you. But then you become an adult and you're like, this, how the fuck did you get here in life? Like, you're such a little shit, and you almost don't know how to communicate with a person like that you don't like. Hey, listen, we need to sit down and have a beer meeting or a coffee
But if
meeting
you're
or
the
something.
coach, you should know how to communicate.
But yeah, but that's that. But now, is it the coach's fault, or is his fault, or is it the whole world's fault? Because the thing is, how I know for me, I'm around people that are like that. As an adult, I am ingratiated in certain things in my life where it's like either PTA or certain things that I do, and you see these sort of like atypical behaviors of bullies or people acting out because they were treated a certain way or misunderstood sort of outward expressions of inner thoughts. But if you want the friendship or the relationship to go one way, you need to have that meeting of the mind. You need to understand where they're coming from so you understand the action. When you're a coach, see, I've never played a sport. I was a cheerleader, and they were so fucking mean.
Well, coaches are always, like, players are always talking, from young kids to adults, they're always talking about how the coach is like a father or a mother. So
But see, then
if you're
how come
acting
there
that,
was no...
what do you mean?
But see, what's his face?
Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson. I'm not a sports person. So.
I know. But I try to invoke sports any way I can.
But I like it because reading this article, I read it from a different perspective. I honestly read it as a mom, and I was trying to put myself in his...
really?
I know. I try to put myself in his shoes or try to understand, like, from, like, that mothering perspective. Because I was like, you know, he's acting out. He's expressing himself in a way that he cannot communicate verbally. And why can't he communicate verbally? Because he sees the world as they're shitting on him.
Guy.
Yeah, he's a short guy and they're shitting on him. But everyone keeps telling him he's a hell of a talent.
Yeah,
and you can't,
he is. He was.
You can't pin him in a certain area because he can do so much. So it's one of those things, like, you're so incredibly talented. You put yourself in a league where, you know, by resume standards, you wouldn't be there.
Right.
So now how do you act?
But
where's the gratitude as well?
But would you consider this bullying though? The way that his coach talked to him? Like, I feel like nowadays everybody calls everything bullying.
Exactly.
No,
It's not.
I don't really like the word bullying because there's too many references of what people say, and it's very confusing.
Well, I mean, when you're on the receiving end of
No,
it,
yes.
I mean,
You
You're
understand.
gonna call it
Yeah.
bullying.
Yeah.
But as I looked at this article from, like, a mentoring and a mothering perspective, it was one of those things, like, somebody needs to have a conversation with you, and you need to go back to your gratitude and humble beginnings, because I don't know if you came from humble beginnings. What I mean is, not financial humble, you know, your place of humility, because you're acting out and you're communicating in a way that people are not receptive of it.
People will treat you how you are acting. Like, they treat you
if you're
the
gonna
way
act
you
like a
accept
clown,
being
you're
treated.
gonna act like a clown. You're gonna be a clown.
Right.
You know, so
It's weird. In with the Nate Robinson thing, it's like, it's a weird thing, weird dynamic going on there. But what about that story that came out about the girl in New Jersey who committed suicide? She was 12. Her parents are now suing the New Jersey school district because she was bullied. She killed herself because she was bullied.
sorry, there's so many cases here. I jog my memory on this one.
That's basically. I mean, it's not really
like,
so much the story.
Yeah.
It's like she basically committed suicide because she was bullied in school, and I guess she told her parents, and then the parents took her to the school district. They had a meeting, and they basically attacked the little girl. That's what the parents are saying. That They attacked the little girl, and then she took it out on herself.
So,
go ahead.
What do you? You're 12. So
as finishing my first 6th grade, you know, my first year of middle school, I can see that happening because I've had friends who have been in that state before, and who aren't lucky enough to have the friends or the environment that they're in to not feel that way, because the people in these graves, it's
mean.
stupid. It's stupid.
They
I
told
think-
her to
I
kill
think
herself
it's-
too. The kids. in
This
school.
and this is the problem. It's like you're at a such. There's an organic process to aging,
Mhm.
and that clip of your life, there is surge of hormones. There's
Oh.
things. There's greater responsibilities that you have that you weren't quite prepared for, because everybody's like, oh, when you get older, you got to do all this shit by yourself. But then all of a sudden you're 12 and you're like, clean your laundry, get home by yourself, don't burn down my house, make sure it's clean when I get fucking home, make sure your homework's done.
Listen,
Oh, I'm sorry,
yeah,
but I'm
but-
sorry. I'm
Jeez.
projecting, and I'm like going back to like a moment in my life.
It's okay.
Preach. I'll be all right.
Still preach.
My parents might not be okay, but that's okay.
I'm gonna send this show to them.
Well, he knows how I fucking talk. But
Yeah,
anyway,
sir.
well, listen, he fucking drops
All
F-bombs
right,
all
but you
the
don't
time.
have to keep doing it left and right. Just say,
And I've
say
been
your
so
point.
good. I've been not cursing for weeks. Anyway, I'm having a visceral reaction
I
right now.
see. My goodness.
But then there's like a natural organic process, but we also need an outlet. So, hurt people hurt. And I'm not
Yeah.
giving, someone who's doing the bullying or someone who's doing the aggressor, I'm not giving them validity. What I'm saying is we need to have better mental health for each other and mental checks for each other, especially with the organic process that it goes to aging. Because when you're 20 or 19 and you get frustrated, what do? You might binge drink and then come home and sleep it off.
right.
When you're in your 30s, you might spend $4,000 on a bag and then, skip a few payments on your Amex card. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's organic processes and everyone has an outlet, but that clip of your life, what's your outlet? There's some places where your outlet is sports, but then your coach treats you like garbage, or the other kids, like, remember that other one with the shooter? Where they said that he was completely bullied and on his team he was bullied.
Yeah.
So where was his outlet? His outlet was sports. He was fantastic in sports, but they still treated him like garbage. And there's adults that are in a child's environment, which is another thing that this is my personal thing when it comes to teachers. They need to live life first and then teach, because it's almost like they don't get out of that high school environment and they don't progress past that organic process for that clip of time.
Dang, from what I hear, high school sucks.
It's funny with you saying that, because I was reading an article, which I'll have to tweet it later because I don't remember what it is. I know I saved it in my Google, but I don't remember the name of it. But anyway, they broke down the 5 types of adult bullying.
Ooh.
Have you ever been bullied as an adult?
Yes.
So these are the 5 that they said. 1/3 of adults say that they've been bullied. It comes in the form of physical intimidation,
No, I haven't had that.
use of power over another. For example,
Yes.
like I'm the supervisor.
Yes, I've had that.
Verbal abuse.
See, that's a
Like, you
touchy
little
one.
shit, basically.
That's a tough one for me, just because it's like,
They need to have the guts to say it to your face.
no, people got the guts to say whatever the fuck they want to my face. The problem is that I hear what I choose to hear, and half the time, listen, I have been prepped my whole life. Like, if your dad is a good, he's a good sparring partner. So, like, you really can't say much to me that I'm gonna, like, really, as my sister-in-law said, you're like the wall. You will see no reaction. I might cry in my car. I won't cry in my car. But
Anyway, can we move on?
But yeah, okay. So the next
The
one.
4th one is
You're like, shut up, bitch. It ain't about you right now.
Put the words in my mouth. Subtle bullying, like, for example, gossip, mimicking somebody's reaction or how they, it's like,
Oh,
like
yeah, I know,
that
yeah.
kind of thing, or telling other people embarrassing things. Like, that's a way of bullying. So, and I know I've done that, and I didn't realize that was considered bullying.
You've done what?
I've said things to embarrass another person.
Was that retaliation?
I don't think bullying is retaliation.
But you've said things to embarrass somebody else out of just sheer anger?
Just to be funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Like I shared your story at your bridal shower, or bridal shower, about the shorts.
I thought that was hilarious, though.
I know, but it's an embarrassing story.
It's different.
You asked me prior, though.
Oh yeah, true. Okay,
So
I get
that's
off on that
very
one.
different, yeah.
True.
It's
Your
different
example
when
is
you're.
invalid.
It's different when you're with a close friend that you know that you can do that with.
You understand their
But
intention.
Yes.
public. They're talking about publicly.
Oh.
When you mimic, say you're at a meet, like you haven't gone to any meetings yet, but like adult meeting,
like business meetings.
Yeah, and
stuff.
you're
Maybe.
everybody's in their suits and stuff, and somebody's like, oh, you see that dress Joanne was wearing? She looked
Oh.
too big in it. But she's not there.
Yes,
But you're like
yes,
talking about,
yes,
you're gossiping
yes.
about that kind of bullying, where you're getting everybody to rally against this one person.
So it's that kind of like adult gossiping?
Yeah,
I call it adult gossiping
Yeah,
because
that's basically that's a form of bullying.
it's not like child like knowledge. It's adult knowledge and what.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they say cyberbullying, which I feel that is all age groups.
That's all. Yeah, that's all. age
You're
groups.
just sending emails or you're making, like I've been known to make a meme or two out of like family members. But it's all in fun. Like
There's one meme you got that I can that
Yeah,
will
that
never
meme is-
go away.
yeah, I love that meme. I love it.
It's the best picture ever.
Because it goes with everything.
Can I
But-
say what it is?
Yeah, you can.
It's a picture of her niece, and her niece is what, 2 months old, 3 months old?
No, she just turned 6, but at the time, on the picture,
And at
she's
the
like
time,
a month or
yeah,
2. Yeah.
But she had her head like,
I'm going to post the picture.
yeah, it's just the cutest thing ever.
But I use that meme was like
Or
when
like
you're
a side-eye.
exasperated
Mhm.
or when something annoys you or like whatever, bitch, that kind of thing. So, but if one of these, as me and you are the adults here, but she's a young adult.
Yes. Yes.
But if you've experienced any of this, and you've already said that you have, and I know I've had, they said one third of adults admit to bullying, and it's like, dang,
I think I just did that.
what?
I think I might have adult bullied somebody.
I know you have. But tell me about this one.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. So
No. But see, like she said earlier, when it's between two friends and you're not shaming this person in a group setting, it's one thing.
right,
It's
because no, this was I totally tried to shame.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Talk about it.
so you know how I TA in a school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it happened to be the neighborhood my husband grew up in, and homegirl was like, I had mentioned my married last name, which I don't use, and she was like, do you know such and such? And I was like, yeah. And like, oh, I went to high school with him, he's so smart. And I was like, he's my husband, so I don't think he's that smart. I thought it was funny, and she's like, really? I think he's so smart. And I'm like, all right, that's nice.
She don't know him.
She don't know him. So anyway, so the other day we were talking about, so this is a pack of 5 women. This other woman would be the 6th, right? And they were talking about, a few of these people are mixed. Their children are mixed. So they
What
were
does
talking
mixed mean?
mixed ethnicities,
Oh, okay.
mixed
Mixed
race.
race, okay.
Yeah. So they were talking about what color eyes their children came out with, and we'll say like 86%, just like in the world, 86% of these kids, probably like 95, they all have brown eyes, like Cocker Brown. But then
Cocker Brown.
Cocker
really?
Brown, yeah, Cocker Brown,
Why?
Doodle Brown.
Oh my
So
gosh.
so
Why can't you just say tree brown or something?
Tree brown.
Just
no,
brown.
Doodle brown. So anyway, so I mentioned like, oh, my daughter has these amazing eyes like my mom. They go between blue and green. And I was like, I married my husband. He has the most amazing green eyes, true green. I know, I didn't say that. Hold on, back up. I said, yeah, my husband has the most amazing. And this girl whipped around. She goes, really beautiful green eyes, right? And I gave her this look, and I was like, yeah. And she hadn't seen him since high school. We were very far away from high school. And I was like, this nutty bitch. So we all go about our business, and she's in another class, I'm in another class. I'm like, did you hear such and such? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, this bitch hasn't seen my husband since high school, and she knows what color eyes he has? Ew. And they were like, really? And I'm like, I know, what a stalker. And whatever I said, and I was like, when you just said that, I was like, I fucking embarrassed the shit out of this girl, because I was like, why the hell are you still riding my husband's eyes?
Well, that goes down to what you said a little while ago. That goes to what you said a little while ago about hurt people hurt. Because you might not admit it, but that hurt you. In a way, it didn't hurt
That
you
was-
like painful.
I feel
but
like-
it's like, why keep my husband's name
Out
out your mouth?
Yeah,
Like you, all of a sudden you're insecure about it. It's like,
I don't think I was insecure.
You was
I think
insecure
I was
because you
possessive.
okay.
Like, you
that-
ain't got no
Yeah.
business talking about my dude. Like, that's my dude.
But
Mind
if you
your
were
business. Be
secure with it,
respectful.
then you wouldn't have looked at it either way. You would have just took it as it
Yeah.
was.
You were a
just
little
insecure.
frustrated.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know what I was. But either way, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologize, but...
I know you not. She need to keep his name out.
What a role
She
model.
needs to keep my dude's name out her mouth is what she needs
Exactly.
to do. But that was the second time in 2 weeks that she brought him up for no reason.
So you was bullying her publicly because you was insecure,
Public and privately, because
Yeah.
it was like her little group.
and now you've
And
done
she
it
was-
again because you're bringing it up on the show.
Listen, I'm gonna keep it real on this one.
Oh my gosh.
Just keep my dudes
Speaking
in
of bullying, I feel like it's worse at this, like you said, organic age of like high school and middle school, because I have been bullied pretty bad.
Explain.
Speak up a little so we can hear this girl.
So I
Grabs popcorn and listens intently.
you know, I like, I'm just gonna say, female dogs in my school, like
Oh.
looking for attention.
Oh.
And I say this because it frustrates me,
Okay.
because accusations of like this, like that's what they choose to be, this person, and that's what they're gonna grow up with. That's what they're gonna be bullies, like
in adult
life, and that's
Right,
gonna
okay.
affect more like in the coach's life. Like
Right.
they need to get out of high school and middle school and live their life.
Mhm.
So I when you say that, I think of a few people who need to do that, who need to like get out of their bubble.
So
I
you
need
were
to,
bullied
like-
by peers or by, like, teachers?
Peers.
Peers.
Have you ever bullied?
Peers.
Based on what I just read down the list of type of bullies, do you think you've ever somewhat bullied?
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. I think
Yeah.
everyone has bullied.
Yeah.
Real, yeah.
think
Yes,
so, too.
everyone has to have bullied at least once in their life.
But it's a matter, it's
It's
one
just
of
a
those
matter
things when
of,
you
like-
realize I was wrong. And
When you
just-
know
Yeah.
better, you do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of that is different of when it's like your very close friend and you just need to like vent.
Right.
And everyone's done that. Everyone has, like, that's just part of human life.
Yeah.
But then there's a different thing. We're going around and gossiping.
To other, yeah.
Yes.
But that best friend talk, that sister
That's
talk,
needed.
that's needed.
That's
I
needed.
feel like that's
Mhm.
so different than the actual, like, what I did was
Mhm.
horrible now. I
Yeah.
ain't gonna apologize.
Well, I've done it once. I'll say once, where this...
At least once.
At least...
It's confession
no,
time.
once.
These are my confessions. Talking about confessions.
Yeah, it's your turn.
No,
I
no,
don't-
not me.
I don't
No,
know
no.
what confession
No,
was
not
that?
to you. I'm talking about Usher. He
Oh.
really just release your records.
Oh, well, you know, whatever.
You got people in danger, girl.
Yeah.
You's in danger, girl.
I know.
And
Anyway.
man.
Oh, see, now here you go bullying him.
Mm-hmm.
What he ever did to you? Anyway, well, it was a good show. Nice,
Thank you.
nice show. We discussed it all, and
Well, Tamika.
I'm gonna go back home and kind of tell other people about what Issa said. Can you believe what this girl says? She's 12 years old. She thinks she know everything.
Exactly.
Listen,
What?
you're enough, and I love you.
I love you.
Isabel, you're growing up to be an amazing young lady. You
Learned a
are
lot
enough,
from her today.
and I love you.
I love you too.
I love you, boo.
I love you, boo.
Try to check us out
I
on
love you.
the Instagram, Yep Yeah Yes 18, and
At
on
me,
Twitter at what is it?
Yep, yeah, yes.
Hey,
Hey.
there you go. And we'll catch you next week. Have a good one.
Bye, girl.
Bye.